and then they turn the lights on, and there's a doll in front of our face. We were already talking about jinn. You know how like every gathering you start talking about jinn stories. Everyone's already kind of scared, right? It's nighttime, whatever.
He knows I'm famous. I'm like, oh my God, my TikTok fame is going to get my family murked. I feel terrible.
It was known to attract pilgrims. People would just come, circumambulate the Kaaba and leave. They would come, put gifts, all that different type of stuff, right? You're misunderstanding. I'm not here to negotiate about protecting the Kaaba.
There was an Arab guide. His name was...
Roll Back Home is hands down one of my favorite podcasts.
Islamic reminders and comedy? How does that work?
Dude, 1 minute I'm laughing, the next minute I'm rethinking my whole relationship with Allah.
I usually only listen to lectures, but this is a nice way to relax.
It feels like you're just chilling with your friends and reflecting on the deen.
You actually learn a lot too. It's way more than just jokes.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
We are back to Roll Back Home.
We're back home. We thought we made it home.
Yeah, we thought this was dead. Yeah. I heard you told some of the brothers that you was just like, yo, I don't know. You remember Khalid? You know Khalid?
Yeah.
He asked, yo, how's the podcast? You were just like, I don't know what's going on. It might be it.
No, did I tell him that?
I mean, I don't know. If
I don't remember.
That's why I heard. I thought you lost some faith in us.
No. I try to keep it low key.
Alhamdulillah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you keep the hate low key or like the
The progression.
The progression. Oh, yeah. No, I don't hide that. I'm like, yo, you saw the last reel, right? A milli on the gram, you know?
1.1, I think now.
Yeah. No, there's no hiding it from me, brother. Anyways, we are back with season 2. We decided to do seasons because we feel like it's a better way to what we want in terms of messaging across. A nice little bumper wrap, gift wrap, you know. We're not running around with random topics, but it's more cohesive.
Yeah, we're trying to be more intentional, thoughtful, trying to provide better content, better quality.
Yeah, and we want you guys just to have more than just the jokes. Like, I want you to leave with something. Well, and we're talking about the Sirat of Prophet ﷺ, right? And so I feel like if people leave knowing something about the Sirah, as well as laughing with their boys, that feels so much better to me than to just make people laugh. Because otherwise, we could just go on the internet and do dumb stuff for laughs.
So this is not girl content. Is that what you're trying to say?
What do you mean girl content?
You said laughing with their boys.
I mean, the Sirah's for everybody, brother.
Oh, just making sure, man.
Yeah. That's for everybody, man. It's a little bit of everything. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, man, I feel like it's a better way to go about this. I feel more like proud saying what I am up to. Because there's a million ways to make people laugh, you know. Okay. What are you laughing at?
Huh?
What are you laughing at?
The way you said that made it seem like you were doing something shady on a corner, just didn't
It's
want
not
anybody
shady,
to know about, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, I'm making clean income all of a sudden.
No, it's like, dude, if you like, it just feels like you're doing 2 birds, 1 stone. Like, you can start a business and it's halal, but you can start a business and also be like hiring like refugees, and you're like, damn, I'm doing 2 birds, 1 stone. It feels good, you know. So that's just for me. So without further ado, season 2, episode 1, the blessed arrival. In this episode, inshallah, this whole season actually, we're gonna be talking about, you know, the life of the Prophet before prophethood. And there's not a whole lot, but let us know about the sources. I want to make sure people know that we're taking this from actual sources.
Sources?
Well, yeah, okay. you wrote some of it up, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the main sources you could say is everyone was hype about it when it came out, and for years and even till now, which was the YouTube series, and it's on Spotify, from Sheikh Yasir Qadhi. They said anyone who's listened to it said it was one of the best, most like cohesive seerahs of the Prophet ﷺ. And then there's also a book called The Sealed Nectar, and that was an amazing book. There's also a few other books, but maybe we'll mention them in the next episodes. But those are like The Sealed Nectar in and of itself. If someone just has that book, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. If that's the read, and then if you want to listen, you can do the Sheikh Yasir Qadhi on Spotify or YouTube.
Awesome. And so just so people know that we're doing this as opposed to just showing you where to go to listen to it. If you don't want any comedy, then just go over to that. But this is for basically learning the same material, but in a comedic setting.
Yeah, and it's not as in depth.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely not as in depth. A little bit more surface level, but a lot of lessons. Like we're still going to be learning from it, because we're also trying to go through this process ourselves. And then the key takeaways that we're benefiting from, what we're doing is we're assuming Like, we are just like every listener. And when we're going through this 114 episode of Sheikh Yasser Qadi or what have you, maybe some of the listeners don't have that time.
I see.
And what impacts us, we're going to take that, package it, and give it back to y'all.
Inshallah.
So that way we're saving you, for example, that time where maybe you're not interested in all the in-depth, like, you know, dates and events and but what is it that really hit us, and we're going to try to transfer that over to the listener.
Inshallah. And before we get started, we're going to talk about the random topic, which is pranks.
Pranks.
I thought about this because I got something on my my chest I want to get up, but
this is a safe space, brother.
No, I know it's not, because not with you anyway. But you ever played pranks on somebody when you were a kid, or had it played on you?
Bro, I had a horrible prank played on me. It was hilarious in hindsight now that I think about it.
This makes me feel better. Okay.
Yeah. It was my siblings, man. I was younger, living in Jersey. I don't even remember how old I was, but like maybe 8, 9, 10, I don't know, old enough to be scared and like understand that, you know, something is happening. So everything, you know, when you have family gatherings, you know that's when things are going to go down, because no one's watching the kids. Right?
Okay.
All the grown-ups are catching up, all the adults drinking tea, cookies, all that stuff, right? And that was one of those days, one of those nights, actually. It was at nighttime. And my sisters were, I was in my sister's room, and they're like, oh, we're going to tell you guys a story. And they're much older than me. And my cousin was with me, around my age. So we're sitting down on a wall. And then all of a sudden, they're telling us a story. And then in the story, the lights go off. So the entire room is pitch black. It's a scary story.
Okay. In this story, the lights go off on real life.
Yeah, they say that. And then in
And
real,
the real
life,
life,
it also went off. So
Okay.
they're matching the story to real life.
Okay.
So one of my sisters telling the story. One of my sisters is shutting the light. One of my sisters setting up for the next part of it. Like this is like they're in cahoots. And then, so it's, do you remember Chucky? The Chucky the doll?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay?
my God, yeah.
Imagine that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then she's like, this is how the story kind of went. Molly, I'm on the first step. So Molly's the girl that's hiding from this
Monster.
doll. Molly, I'm on the second step. I'm on the third step. And then quiet. And then they turn the lights on, and there's a doll in front of our face.
Oh, my God.
And we just,
Wait, how many dolls just in front of you?
yeah, just in front of me.
Oh,
And I just flip out, and they're dying of laughter. So that was crazy. That to me,
okay.
that was
Okay.
As a kid, right? Like
how old?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I genuinely don't remember.
I did simple stuff. I mean, I did. It was my younger sister. Like
I've done some bad pranks too, but I'll go after you. I've like done pranks on other people too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I did simple stuff to like one of my younger sister. I put, like, obviously I put my dad's shaving cream. You know the basics. I put shaving cream. I put my dad's shaving cream in her hand, and I tickled her nose, and she slapped her own face.
While she's sleeping.
Yeah, and then she wakes up to that. What's crazy is how she played a prank on me. So for a week straight, she would color one of my toenail. She would color it blue, and I was a deep sleeper. I would, like, color it blue, and I would wake up every day having to be like wipe it off, and I'm like, I think I'm getting like over the week I feel like I'm getting sicker. You know, like when you think you're sick, you actually get sick. You know what I mean? I thought I had cancer. Like I don't know how cancer works. I was like, blue toenail, same nail, you know, the right big toe. She got me for a week straight, bro.
And this was before the LGBTQ he, she. You weren't really familiar with nail polish because you.
No, it was not nail polish.
Oh, it wasn't.
This girl had a crayon, like, just colored.
wow.
I mean, I don't mean like a paint.
Picasso.
Like I'd be able to tell nail polish. Yeah, no, just like scribbled on. I'm like, dude, I'm getting sick here, bro. I thought I had. Anyways, it was just like basic stuff like that, and then sometimes I'd put like buckets of water on top of the door, wait for my cousin to come in, and like I remember him particularly because I don't have a younger brother. I have an older brother. I'd never play pranks on him because I'd get beaten up. But like my cousin, when he came to visit, I would put like buckets on the door, and I'm hoping, based on physics, that as he opens the door, it would tilt over. But dog, the heavy ass bucket with water, just fell straight down, put a dent in this nigga head.
Those
like,
are
oh, I'm sorry.
Those pranks are tough to pull off.
yeah.
A bucket on a door or something like that.
Yeah. It's tough. And then you sit there waiting, and then you got to clean up afterwards, and it didn't even work.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like, but
you know what's a little side before I even mentioned the prank that I've done on my sister and actually one of her friends is, have you seen that couple on YouTube that they literally have like Nerf guns or whatever it is, and then there's balloons with like whipped cream in them or something like that?
Oh, yes.
Bro, they're OD. I don't know how they have the time in their life to actually commit to that. It's crazy.
Yeah, to clean up after that.
To clean up after that.
Yeah.
You know, consistently.
But I mean, they do numbers though.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, they do. They do insane numbers. So there was a prank. Oh my God, man. Now that you mention it, there was so many pranks. Okay, and now these pranks had to do with like jinny stuff. Like, oh, there's a jinn.
It always
right?
is.
Yeah, those are the best and the worst at the same time. Again, family gathering, and my sister was talking to her fiance at the time. Okay, now husband, and she went upstairs. She's on the phone, right? Before that, we were already talking about jinn. You know how like every gathering you start talking about jinn stories. Everyone's already kind of scared, right? It's nighttime, whatever. My brother-in-law gets a phone and records like noises, like random, you know what I mean? Like really like super spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I sneak up the steps, hit play, and slide the phone into the room, but behind something, and run back downstairs. And then all you hear 5 seconds later, my sister's screaming like someone's about to kill her, and runs down the stairs. She was so afraid, she didn't even put her hijab on. My brother-in-law was there. She's supposed to have her hijab on. And when I say my brother-in-law, it's my other sister's husband, right? Because she's obviously talking to her. But. So yeah, that was crazy. Another one was same house, same night, but her friend came later, so she doesn't know we just pranked my sister. This time, her friend's in the room talking to like they were just talking, like how girls are talking, in a room, and then they get me a ladder. We go outside. I get up on the ladder on the roof, nighttime, and then they're just talking again. Jinn stories still happen, and then all you hear is a knock on the window.
Oh my God!
Right?
And they're on the second floor or something?
And they're on the second floor. They're in the room that I just knocked on. And they're like, Yo, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Again, and then same thing. They freaked out. They flipped out, ran out of the room, and yeah. So
that's crazy, dude. Yeah. No, I don't have the balls for that kind of stuff. But I got pranked as an adult, and let me go through it. This is the story of Ronnie. So a couple years ago, it's been a couple years actually. You know, that's crazy. A couple years ago, I'm living at my parents' house, and I'm out with the boys, and I'm on the way home, and I see a random guy ride past me on his bike as I'm parking in front of the house. And I see, as I'm getting out the car, I see my sister and my wife at the front door saying, hey, there was a guy that was banging on the fence, and then he was in our front yard stroking our cat. And I was like, our cat? What's he look like? She's like, he's on a bike and he just left. I was like, dude, I just saw a dude on a bike. I get back in the car, circle the neighborhood, find it. I go up to the guy. I'm like, yo, you good? Like, what's up? And he's like, oh, I'm looking for my friend Tyler. And he looks messed up, this guy. And you're clearly pulling like names out of his ass. So I'm like, Tyler? I don't know. There's no Tyler that lives there, bro. Don't come back to my house. I know he's like trying to save face. You know, he don't want having problems. All right. I go home. So I go home, no problem. Next morning, our neighbor comes by. She's like, hey, did a guy come over to your house yesterday? I was like, yes. As a matter of fact, he stroked my cat. She's like, I'm sorry about that. He's my ex-fiance, and I have a restraining order against him. Next morning, neighbor comes by. She's like, hey, there was a guy, bothering you last night? I'm like, yes. Matter of fact, he was stroking our cat. She's like, I'm sorry about that. That's my ex-fiance, and I have a restraining order against him. He's not supposed to be here. Turns out he was hitting her fence, but because it's connected to ours, we thought it was our fence. She's like, don't worry about it. He's not going to come back. So we're like, cool. All right. Over. Next morning, she comes by, and she tells us, like just as we walk by, she goes, did any of you guys leave a mandarin in front of my house? We're like, why the hell would we leave you fruit? We barely know. We just met you, you know? And I was like, it's probably your, ex-fiance. She's like, oh my God, this is so weird. I'm going to the masjid to the boys. I go back to the masjid to the boys. I'm like, yo, you will never believe what just happened. And when I complain, I still somehow like try to joke about it because that's just naturally, I joke about everything. And I was like, yo, mandarins, bro, and all this kind of crap. I get home that night after hanging out with the boys. I see a mandarin in front of our door. I'm like, yo, this dude is sending a signal, right? I go inside. Next morning comes by. Dad wakes up to go to Fajr at the masjid. I pray at home like a wussy. He comes back. He's like, I found a mandarin in front of our door. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's that guy. So that night, me and my dad stay up. And we have a bat, like a metal bat, and we just chill in front of the house. We see him ride by. He turns around and goes the other way. So like, he's never going to do that again. Next night, see another mandarin. I'm getting concerned, nigga. These are getting bigger and bigger. It's almost an orange now. You know what I'm saying? He leaves. We call the cops. This guy's not scared of anything. Keeps leaving fruit. Call the cops. He's at the end of the street. Cops pick him up. Tell him, get the hell out of this neighborhood. We're like, cool. Alhamdulillah, all's good. Next day, I see another mandarin. This time, it's on top of a cherry pie. And not even a good one, like the boxed ones. The ones that you got to do work.
Those like super artificial.
I'm freaking out. But I'm still going back to the guys telling them, yo, you'll never believe this. I'm freaking out inside, but I'm joking about it on the outside because how else do I process this?
Yeah. And why are you freaking out?
Because there's a serial killer on the loose and he's leaving fruit. There's no, like, what one day is going to be, like a head or something. Like, I don't know. But the fact that this guy is like stalking us, my cat's outside, you know what I'm saying? Anything could happen.
Especially the cat.
And I don't know if maybe he got mad because I kind of ran up on him and I was like, yo, don't ever come back to our house. I don't know if I don't know. This guy looks out of his mind. We call the cops. They don't answer. They don't do anything. My dad's freaking out. My mom's freaking out. My wife's freaking out. And at the same time, by the way, me and my wife are living in the downstairs bedroom, the only bedroom on the downstairs floor. So, nigga, if he comes in, we getting the mandarin. You know what I'm saying? So I can't. I'm worried. But of course, I go to the masjid. I'm like, yo, boys, you don't understand, man. This shit is crazy. So I take 6 of the guys, all bring their cars. We go to my house. Because my dad just called saying another mandarin. There's another mandarin. I'm like, oh my God. So we all get there. We all turn off the lights. We're sitting in the car waiting for him to pass by. This guy don't show up tonight. I'm like, out of all nights, you don't show up. Now, mind you, I haven't seen him for like 4 nights. But I keep seeing the mandarin, so I know he's there. Doesn't show up this night. But I get out the car to go into my dad, to talk to my dad, to tell him, hey, we surveilled the place. We locked down the perimeter. We didn't see nothing. And on the way to the house to tell my dad that there's nothing to be worried about, I step next to a mandarin. No, I'm freaking out. I get back in the car. I call the cops. They're not saying anything. They're not doing anything. Everybody I know is laughing. And I'm thinking, I would laugh too. So we go grab dinner. We all just go get dinner. I say, oh man, let's get my mind up this mandarin. Let's go get some real food. We go get food with Mufti Wasim and the guys. Dad calls me again. I'm on the phone outside the restaurant, consoling him. Baba, it's just fruit. We gonna be alright. He's not a threatening guy. Like he's a little, like, we could take him if we need to. I come back inside. Mufti Wasim holds my hand and he looks at the guys and goes, "Tell him." I was like, "Tell me what?" He goes, "Tell him." Oh, I missed a part. Some account called Ronnie DMs me on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, he knows I'm famous.
Get the heck out of here.
I swear to God, he knows I'm famous. I'm like, oh my God, my TikTok fame is going to get my family murked. I feel terrible. So I'm like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Most people seems like, tell him. I'm like, tell me what? And they're all like, it was us, man. I was like, what do you mean it was us? I was like, I know Ronnie. I've seen him. He goes, nah, man, he ain't never left a mandarin there, but it was us. We bought a whole bag. We just been leaving it there for the last 6 days. I saw red. I saw orange, I should say. I start swinging. because 2 people were responsible. I start swinging on the first one. Second one goes to the back, like runs towards the bathroom. I get kicked out of Denny's. You know, we all basically we all get dismissed. We like, especially me, like I was escorted out, and the guy I was
Escorted out
punching
by a
on,
mufti.
huh? No,
Escorted
no,
out
an
by a
employee.
mufti. No way.
Yeah, employee's like, we're gonna have to ask you to leave or whatever. So I walk out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. And then I go back just to
Oh
tell
my
the 2 who
God.
were responsible. I said, you're coming to my house and you're explaining this to my dad and you're gonna apologize to his face. I'm not doing this like, oh, I'm sorry, it was my friend. I'm not taking the blame on that. You're coming and you're apologizing to my father, right? They try to get in my car. I was like, get on my car, bro. Get in your own car and drive to my house. You better be there when I get there, right? I get there. They come up to my dad and they say sorry. And my dad starts laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing about, dog? Like, my dad has a sense of humor about this, but I am so mad. And I can't take it back now. Like, I'm already upset.
Yeah.
Because that's not a...
You're invested. You can't act like, okay.
But also, like, I don't forgive you. Like, you had me... I was calling the cops in front of you over some fruit. And you niggas let me.
They essentially took the real story about Ronnie leaving a orange in front of his ex-fiance's thing and
started
they just
doing it to
turned
me.
it on.
And that was the last day I ever opened up to them niggas.
Yeah.
It was over after that. For 6 months, they were dead to me. You don't understand. They were dead to me. I didn't salam them. I walked past them. I could care less. 6 months later, some reason, I just decided to let it go.
It's gone.
And Allah placed us and Umrah together. All of
Yeah.
us. I wish I could say Ronnie was there too, but but oh my God, it was crazy wild ride. But yeah,
Yeah, man. Shout out Ronnie.
I guess shout out
That wouldn't have been possible without you.
the friends in quotes.
Man,
Who
that
did
was that was
That was
hilarious.
insane. That was insane. But let's get into this podcast, episode 1 of season 2, the blessed arrival. So the year of the elephant is described about the year that the Prophet was born around that time.
So.
And they did it per event. So like how they didn't at that time they didn't have like calendars, so they did it per event. So the year of whatever this thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
And then they would say, "Oh, I was born 2 years after the event." This. So the year of the elephant. Well, what do you know about that?
The Year of the Elephant is probably like one of the most famous stories everyone's probably heard of at least once, right? But I want to take a step back, if that's okay, to say that to highlight the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ, Abdul Muttalib, right? Because he was really the you could say like the cornerstone of that community. But there were 2 other things that he was really well known for, right? One of them was actually finding the well of Zamzam. So the well of Zamzam, at one point when they had war, right, was essentially filled up and lost for like 300 years.
This is after.
This is before
Prophet
the Year of the
Ibrahim.
Elephant.
Yeah, but this is it got lost after Prophet Ibrahim.
No. Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then
after.
they rediscovered it.
Yeah,
Okay.
rediscovered it, right? He rediscovered it, but how? He was constantly having dreams about going like something next to a rock and digging and what have you. He brushed it off, had another dream and another dream and another dream, and he's like, okay, I have to go and then check it out. So he went and he began to dig until he hit water, Zamzam, the well of Zamzam. People were thinking like, yo, what is this guy doing? And then he hit the well of Zamzam. Now that was huge because in that time, water is essentially more valuable than oil and gold. Okay, you're living in a desert. That's survival. That's life. That's power. That's status. So before you know it, he's surrounded by 2, 3 other big tribesmen trying to say, no, we're taking over this. We're taking over this. And he's essentially made an oath. He's like speaking to Allah, like saying, oh Allah, right? Although they were idol worshippers and what have you, they had this concept of Allah, right? If you give me 10 sons or 12 sons, you know, so I could be able to protect myself, I'll sacrifice one of my sons, right? So the guys, they don't want to get into a all-out war and a clash, right? So they end up saying, you know what, we're going to go to this priestess, right? And she's going to, like a magician, and she's going to tell us who this well belongs to. And as they're traveling, right, it's quite a bit of a distance. They run out of water. They don't have a well, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what do? Abdul Muttalib says, hey guys, literally we're going to have to dig our own graves because we're not going to be able to bury each other, right?
Oh, wow.
And as they actually did that. That was a practice. Like if you knew you were going to die, don't burden the other person around you to dig your grave. Just dig your grave.
Yeah.
So he begins to dig his grave. Everyone's digging their own grave. And guess what? He strikes water again. So everyone around him was like, okay, that's a sign. Khalas, let's just go back. The well is yours. We're good, right?
Mm.
So this is like what is this? This is his grandfather and even the lineage before the Prophet ﷺ, it's establishing the status of the Prophet ﷺ's family, right? With respect and so on and so forth. That was a big incident, right? Then comes the year of the elephant. The year of the elephant, what was Mecca known for regardless? It was known to attract pilgrims. People would just come, circumambulate the Kaaba and leave. They would come, put gifts, all that different type of stuff, right?
Circumambulate.
Is that a right word or no?
I think you took that term and was like, I'm finna use this today somewhere.
No, I actually, wallahi, just came to my mind.
Circle, right? Circle the Kaaba. Like,
Yeah.
wow, circumambulate? That's crazy. That sounds like a
Honestly,
medical
please
term.
please check if it's even a proper word. 'Cause if it's
I
not,
know it
we
is,
gotta
but
cut
it
that
sounds
out.
like a blood clot. So it's like, yo, man, what happened to such and such? Oh, you didn't hear? He circumbobulated. He had a bobulation in his throat, and he just circumbobulated. That is insane. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
We can fact check this.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So now there was a guy, a leader in Yemen named Abraha,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
And his people would be from those every year that would go. And he's like, why do you guys always go up north for what? And to visit the Kaaba. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to build something bigger and better.
Mhm.
And they were Christians down there. So he builds something similar to the Kaaba, right? And it's bigger. It's made out of glass. He even builds like a cathedral, all that stuff. And he's like, my people are going to come to here now instead of there. And so a Bedouin hears that, and then he ends up, he's like, yeah, let me go visit. And he goes there. Do you know what he does?
Yeah.
No.
He relieves himself in the cathedral.
Right? He goes
Number
there.
1 and 2.
Yeah, there's a number 1 and a number 2.
Insane.
Disrespecting them. He got heated. Abraha.
Yeah.
He's like, I promise you I'm going to go there and I'm going to destroy that Kaaba.
Mm.
Right? So he gears up. He takes, they say, between 8 to 20, there's different narrations, elephants, right, to go and destroy the Kaaba.
Mm.
He pulls up with elephants. And the lead elephant...
Just side note.
Yeah.
If somebody came to my house
Mm.
and destroyed my bathroom,
Mm.
I would 100% destroy their house.
Destroyed your bathroom?
Yeah.
But he's not... What do you mean?
I'm just saying, side note, this is irrelevant to the story right now. I'm just saying, like, if you came to my house and took a dump,
In your bathroom?
yeah, and just no, well, at that time it wasn't like easy to clean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you just basically took a. I will 100% go and do worse to your house, and I probably won't even use the bathroom. I would take a dump somewhere in the house and let you find it.
Figure it out.
Let you
on
find.
your
It'll be
own.
like a game of Easter, but you're not happy when you find it either. You know. Yeah, I just had to let that out. Go ahead.
Yeah, no worries.
Just
Noted.
keep that in mind, man.
Noted.
I'm in a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
If somebody destroys my bathroom, I'm coming for yours. That's easy.
Thought about it today.
Okay.
Not gonna happen. No, sir.
Okay.
But yeah, so he pulls up. The lead elephant's name is Mahmoud. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take it over?
No, I just like the story.
Now he sees this property from the people as they're pulling up. And Abdul Muttalib at this point now is doing really well. He had, they say, like 200 camel and sheep. So he's financially doing well off. Abraha seizes that. Now, the people see elephants coming. The people know that this group of army or this group of people is coming to destroy the Kaaba. So they want to go take shelter where? In the mountains. And before they do that, Abdul Muttalib is by the Kaaba, cleaning it up and pleading to Allah, right? Like, please take care of, protect us and take care of the house or what have you. And Abdul Muttalib goes and he wants to talk to Abraha, the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes into Abraha's tent,
Mhm.
and it's said that Abdul Muttalib was a big dude, like bigger than your typical like Qurashi back then. He was like 6 foot, handsome, big guy, to the extent that they say Abraha actually got up off of his chair and sat on the floor with him out of respect for the man. Abraha's like, yeah, you know, like, so what's good? What are you here for? And so what does Abdul Muttalib say? He says, Abraha's like, oh, you're here. You want
Negotiate.
yeah, you want to negotiate. You want to protect your your place of worship. That that's cool. Like he had some respect for Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib was like, no. You're misunderstanding. I'm not here to negotiate about protecting the Kaaba. I just want to make sure I get my 200 camels and sheep back. And right away, Abraha like lost respect for him when he said that.
Yeah.
And then he hits him with Abdul Muttalib hits him with a one-liner. He was just like, look, the Kaaba has its Lord and its Master, and He'll protect it. And my camels and my flock, they have its Lord and Master, and I need to protect it. So Abraha's like, all right, cool, whatever. Gives him his stuff, and then he goes now, and he wants to break the Kaaba.
Yeah. Before you get to the destroying the Kaaba part, do you know that they had a guide?
Oh yeah,
There was an Arab guide.
Yeah. There's always
his
traders,
name
huh?
was Abu Ruqal.
Something like that.
Something like that. I can't pronounce it properly, but basically Abraha like hired this Arab guide who showed him the way to the Kaaba, and he's treason. It's treason basically.
Yeah.
He's a traitor to the point where they used to say, "You're more treacherous than Abu Ruqal." Like that became like the standard of treachery, right?
Yeah.
Which is, dude, I can't believe. Like when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, dude! Like, what did he have on you?" You know, and your own, like, imagine as your brother or your cousin that showed like you let Ronnie come here. You know what I mean? Like you showed him where I live. Like, dude, I think about treachery, and I know this is a really small. Some may say it's not treachery, but I still believe it is. Like, I don't like it when I have guests over, and my wife starts pulling out the snacks that I had planned for me. And starts offering it to the guests. I'm like, yo, they are good. they don't need that.
They just happen to be here.
Yeah, they just so happen to be. They are fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these are my, like, you know what I mean? Like and then you gotta sit there and smile, ask them, yo, you want some more of this snack I was finna eat when you left? Like, I feel like that's a form of betrayal.
Nah, it kind of makes sense because when I first walked in, I kind of started snacking on some of the stuff on the table. And I saw the way you were looking at me.
No. If it's visible, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, but I know I kind of walked in and it might have been like you weren't not enough time to put stuff away. This is the first time I kind of see it all. You know, I've been here at least 30 times.
No. You're
it's
good.
the most exposed I've caught in you.
I'll have to say, even if I caught you in the fridge, I'd be like, that's my guy though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Anyways, so he's about to destroy the Kaaba, or at least trying to. And
yeah, so then the lead elephant is called Mahmud, so he starts to tell Mahmud and like ordering the elephant to attack and move forward, and he's not moving forward at all. They're trying to do everything to get him to move forward, not budging. The moment they turn him away from the Kaaba to walk elsewhere, he walks. They point him to the Kaaba, he's not walking. And they're tripping. What's going on? None of the elephants are going to move if Mahmud ain't moving. And that's where we get the surah. So it's fil. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Did you not see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did to the friends or the owners of the elephants? Lam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil. He sent birds called ababil, these big birds, tarmihim bi hijaratin min sijil, throwing rocks of almost like you could say like lava or like from Jahannam essentially, right? فجعلهم كعصف مأكول, just destroying anything those rocks touched was getting destroyed, skin melting off, people just dying. And it's said that Abraha as well was injured to the extent where they left defeated, and right before he gets back to Yemen, he succumbs to his wounds. Like he dies right outside his city, as almost like as a sign of like he almost had hope. Yeah. And all of a sudden he gone.
Which I think to myself, dude, not only did he, those people died on battlefield, so their suffering was like kind of almost instantaneous. His was like the entire ride back. He was suffering for the longest.
Yeah.
And then just when, like you said, there was like a glimmer of hope, it was gone.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like if he knew he was gonna die, he would have liked a shorter death. But you know, you get what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and I also, like, you know, I've had, it's like I know none of us have died yet, but if you ever needed to use the bathroom and you're doing so well, right? Now just imagine you shart on yourself in the driveway of your house. He was like, I drove here from the bay. At least if I failed halfway, I would have been like,
Heck
that-
no.
at
That's
least-
a horrible example. Let me fail right in front of my house so I can go in and clean up, not have to drive the other half.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I would have been like, dog, like, I thought I really had this. Like, you know, it's like fumbling on like I don't watch football, but like on that right before you score a touchdown.
Yeah. End zone.
Yeah. Anyway, terrible example, but
Yeah, so I mean that's and the Prophet ﷺ likely as this event was happening was in his mother's womb, and like as it had like as you know, and it was born very shortly after, and we know that because someone one of his you could say the Sahaba, one of his companions who was potentially related to him. I'm not 100% sure about that, but essentially he was in a conversation with the Prophet ﷺ, someone asked him a question about the Prophet ﷺ, and essentially he said, who is Akbar? Like, Anu Akbar, meaning like, who's older? The guy was asking him, who's older, you or the Prophet ﷺ? So he says, the Prophet ﷺ Akbar wa ana asannu min, meaning the Prophet ﷺ is greater than me, but I'm older than him in terms of years. And in terms of the Arabic language, Akbar also kind of means like bigger or above. So he didn't want to say I'm.
a sense of humility.
Yeah, so out of humility. And he was saying, I remember in the, when I was younger, in the year of the elephant, my mother took me to go see the dung of the elephants. Right? So then they kind of extrapolate, okay, well, the age difference between him and the Prophet ﷺ were X amount of years, meaning that is when the Prophet ﷺ was born, right? In terms of the year of the elephant.
Yeah.
So.
And then about him being born, I mean, I know there's some miracles that happen, but the side note about the miracles, like some people try to like over exaggerate these things. And what's important is like, you know, not to make a mockery of it, because I know you want to make it sound crazier and crazier and crazier. Like some people say that when the Prophet ﷺ was born, he fell into sajda. That's not recorded anywhere.
Yeah.
Some people would say that he was born with his finger towards the sky, and like he's a miracle enough. You don't need to try to add these like crazy. It's almost like, you know, like Bollywood films. It's like, come on, you drifted a horse, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
have you seen the rodeo? Have you ever seen the rodeo?
Dog, he drifted a horse under an 18-wheeler. That's not that's not happening. The horse should have, you know what I'm saying? That's insane. Like, you know, don't try to Bollywood version the Sirah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, we didn't go into it, but if you're interested in actually learning a lot of what happened before even the year of the elephant and kind of like the generational like the lineage of the Prophet,
the climate,
but even just the lineage and how everything led up to that in and of itself was just a sign after a sign after a sign that something or someone great is coming.
It's coming, yeah.
It all, like, subhanAllah, the when you look back and you're just like, had it been another way, there could have been holes that can be poked in the story, but no, like Allah had it all set, and it was just kind of amazing to see from where his mother was from to his grandfather to everything, all these different connections. SubhanAllah, just
SubhanAllah,
pretty amazing.
There's so in terms of like the birth of the Prophet, so like the crazy like myths that people like try to make up. I don't know if this is in your culture, but I do know like Moroccans, for example, believe that if the woman who's pregnant is craving something and she doesn't get it, and she itches some part of her body.
Yes.
Their baby is born with some sort of like birthmark or like a scar in that area she itched.
Yes.
You have these?
Yep. The exact same thing.
That's crazy.
That exact same thing. And I have yet, I mean, I can't disprove it. Nor can I prove it. There's too many instances where apparently it's happened. No, I ain't
But they
witnessed
always,
it.
I mean, dude, do
We
you
haven't
remember?
done a study.
I know there's no study, but dog, like you telling me that 9 months later, or let's say 4 months, like say somewhere in the middle of the pregnancy, 4 months later, you know, a woman's gonna be like, I remember when I itched my cheek that one time. Like, no. What are you talking about, dude? You don't remember what you ate 4 days ago.
Hey, I don't know if you've ever seen like a pregnant woman's craving. You'll find out eventually.
No, but I don't think they're remembering where they itched 5 months later.
No, they don't.
That's what I'm saying. So don't, when your kid comes out with the birthmark on their neck, they're like, that's that kiwi that one time I was craving kiwis and I was just, you know, come on, bro, get out of here with that.
Hey, listen, I can neither deny nor confirm.
This other thing where like people say, just by the way you walk, I know you're carrying a boy.
Oh yeah. Or when you
What
pick something up.
what if she needs to take a dump and she just like, yo, is it a boy or girl? It's a shit. Like, like no, it's stop. I hate that. I hate when people try to add these like weird,
Yeah. Superstitions.
folk tales and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
does your daughter have any birthmarks that you could try to say, hey, wife, were you?
No, it wouldn't be something that from my wife, but it's. I do think it's genetic or generational. She has my daughter has like the exact same birthmark. I think it's like somewhere on her back over here. It looks like a strawberry.
Genetic as in from you? Like
no,
you?
so from my wife's grandmother, from Italian, from the Italian side. So
Same place?
My mother, yep,
Oh.
same place. So my mother-in-law's mom, who passed away. So, and that was crazy. I think that was like super shocking, but also somewhat like comforting for my mother-in-law when she saw that. It was a weird, because she lost her mom. Like, so my mother-in-law's not Muslim, Italian side, and her mom, my mother-in-law's mom, also passed away, not Muslim, but also passed away somewhat young. So when she saw that, it was almost like a piece of her mom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's interesting, but that has nothing to do with like the whole craving and stuff. But that's that's the only thing.
Yeah. Okay, and so the details, miraculous signs that are actually recorded surrounding the birth of Prophet was including his mother's vision of light emanating from her. Do you remember this?
Yeah, you go for it, brother.
No, you go.
No, you tell me.
I mean, I remember somewhat like that. It's either like a dream. They don't know if it was a dream or not. That she saw light emanating from her all the way to Syria. And you know, if you want to read about this in depth or listen to this in depth, again, Yasser Qati's podcast.
When you were born, so when you were born,
when I was born, what?
The whole world went dark for a second. Who turned off the lights?
Yeah, man. What can I say? And then there was the peaceful nature of his arrival. I'll try to get through this. That's crazy. It's just like my parents just get mad, like the stocks just drop, like the market tanks. It's just like, oh my god, what happened?
What?
Like the whole world just like goes through a depression. Market crashes. Parents just like, what happened? Yeah. Dude, you know, I used to think that like when people get pregnant, first of all, I thought you used to think that Muslims just make dua and then the woman just sort of gets a baby, and then she checks when she goes to the hospital. She sort of shows her belly. In exchange, they give you a kid. Like I didn't know they delivered the kid, and I used to think that you could choose. And so I have 5 sisters, so my mom kept coming back with girls. So I was like, "Yo, bring a boy back this time, right?" So she's like, "Oh, couldn't get a boy." And she's like,
playing along.
Yeah, she's playing along. She's like, they ran out, so I bought a girl. I'm like, God damn. So the next one, I was like, hey, make sure you ask for a boy this time. And she was like, I'll try. And she goes, another girl comes home, and I'm like, what are you doing? So the last girl, I told my mom, listen, if you go there and they don't have a boy, don't bring anything home. Just wait, because I used to think it was like a supermarket. Just wait until the next day and see if whenever they get boys in stock, bring one back. You know
what is it called? When you try to put something on hold on a store,
layaway, yeah. Yeah, that's, oh my God. I was so, and then I think about this, like, I still remember the time that I figured out, like, actually,
How
like,
old were you?
at this time, when I was asking these questions?
No, when you found out.
When I found out, dude, it might have been 13, 14.
Yes, subhanAllah, I'm
It's
trying
pretty
to,
late for me.
that is, but I think it's like, I'm just so interested and intrigued to talk to other parents to find out like what were their stories that they told their kids, because there are parents, even including some of my siblings, that try to, in my opinion, again, because I'm still figuring out this parenting thing, but in my opinion, they're trying to teach their kids very high level, for that kid it seems abstract concepts way too early in life. Like thinking, oh, like I'm empowering them by teaching them the real truth early on. It's like, no, they're kids, they're imaginative, like they're super creative, imagination's running wild. Like, let that, actually what you should do, again, this is my subjective opinion, I only have one daughter who's 3, so who am I? I'm no expert, but hone that, actually feed the creative and imagination, because guess what, there's going to come a point where it's going to be the complete opposite, right? Like that level of imagination and creativity is actually going to start to plummet, because now they are interacting with the real world and they will just see it as it is. And so why not boost and focus on that strong, so, and then eventually it'll balance out, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not going to try to explain to my 5-year-old exactly how kids are made, because even if they understand, does it really matter? I don't know.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I'm
think I
interested.
even care. Like, I still, at that time, I thought it was wrong. Like, I was reading a book from school where they told us to go read certain chapters, and I was reading about, like, the way a child is conceived. And I read it to my mom. I didn't read it to her. Like, I was looking at it. I'm like, Mom, I was like, can you write me a note so that I don't have to go learn this? Because this is some kuffar stuff. Like, we don't believe in this. Why? Like, just make me, like, give me an excuse to skip the class. And she's like, no, you have to learn it. It's true. And I remember as she said that, my heart sunk.
Oh my God.
I still remember where I was sat. I still remember where she was sat.
No way.
In the exact house, everything. And I'm like, I didn't respond. I was just like, I was floored. Like, I was like, oh. And then when I left, I remember my dad coming home and I just couldn't look at him. I was like, nah. I don't know what you did.
I don't recall I don't recall what I was told like you do. I wish I did. And I also don't remember.
But they didn't tell me. They let me
know about the
stumble
whole
upon
market thing. Like
What
your
market?
like the, not the market thing, but like how your mom selected.
No, she just played along. She never told me that.
Oh,
I was
okay. You kind of
I assumed that when she was making dua and then ended up pregnant, I was like, yo, that was probably one of the duas. Like, I just connected one and one, right? But she didn't like break the dress. So long as I was in an age where, like, dude, if I'm 27 talking about, hey, mama, can you bring back a boy? So like, she's gonna be like, brother, you 27, you gotta sit down.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But I'm saying, so long as the kid doesn't need to know, just play along or whatever.
Whatever the kid comes up with, just go along with that.
Exactly. Whatever weird thing they come up with.
Yeah.
I used to think, like, in movies, like when I watch, like, oh, such and such slept with such and such. I was like, they slept in the same bed? Like, I thought, oh, they just slept in the same bed. I was like, I sleep in the same bed as all my cousins. I'm like, why is that weird? Like, I never understood. Even the plot didn't make sense. I'm like, oh my God, she slept with him. I'm like, dog, like you a little sensitive, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, stupid stuff like that. But weird note that I came across. On the 7th day, the Prophet was circumcised. Some people try to say that he was born that way, etc. Again, another myth, which reminded me of a kid who was circumcised super late.
Yeah.
Circumcised at 14.
Yeah, that's wild.
And we used to play soccer, like, after school and stuff. So we just regularly went up to his door, like, 14 years old. Yeah. Just got circumcised on a weekday. Like, who the hell gets circumcised on a a random Tuesday? Just and decided to up and.
It's good to note that, like, all Muslim men are supposed to be circumcised when they're born.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes parents are their first kid, like, they got all the mistakes. Yeah. Right. So they're trying to figure it all out and stuff. But it was so funny to me. I'm like, dude, this, and he answered the door. Like, you didn't have to come up here, but, like, he didn't. I don't know if he wanted us to ask his mom, like, hey, why can't such and such? He just came out. He's like walking all weird.
No
like,
way.
just broke the news to us.
Miskeen, bro.
It was just, I still remember, I remember where he lived. I remember as he came out, I remember that he was waddling. It was just such a, I was like, dude, 14 years old, just a random Tuesday decided, just go
That's
get this done.
tough. Like, I'm thinking about it too. And by the way, like, it's a part of, like, it's a part of our deen for boys to be circumcised, right? But like, even it's typical practice now in general in medicine, because it's when you're not circumcised, it can lead to more problems for men. So it's actually a staple thing now.
Yeah,
in the medical
to
world,
be
to be circumcised. But think about this: there's still some people who don't, right? So my question would be, and I don't know the answer, right? But it's like, let's say it's a convert, 50 years old, 40 years old,
There's no way.
and never did. When they become Muslim, do they need to? Interesting question, huh? Food for thought. Maybe we'll get the answer.
I don't
by
want to
next
say
episode.
food for thought after that sentence. That's great. That sounds wild to me, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, like giving up stuff like alcohol and stuff, like, okay, you should circumcise your children or whatever. But at 50 years old, I don't know if, no pun intended, I don't know if I had the balls to do that.
I'm assuming it's not as painful now.
What? No.
Nowadays, I'm assuming the procedure that they have is probably not as painful.
The procedure, but the aftermath, 100%.
I don't know about that.
100%.
You speak. You talking like it's from experience,
brother. I'm just saying, like, I had like a small surgery for a deviated septum, and I was in pain and agony for like 4 days. But
yeah, some people build different. But
all right, okay, my bad.
not me. Yeah, it's some people.
Some people. Okay, I feel like it. So neither one of us.
No.
Okay, I got you. So let me see where we at in terms of time. Yeah, 49 plus the 10 minutes I probably didn't record. So we're about an hour. We can wrap this up now.
Yeah, and then we find out that this speaker mic wasn't working the whole time.
That was in the back of my mind. No, inshallah khair. Do you have any last notes before we...
No, like, comment, subscribe, ask questions.
Yep. We're
Tell us
hoping
how
to
you
get this
benefited.
out. Yeah, and if you do like the podcast, if you have reached out, comments, all these things, just drop a link in the group chat with your friends and share this, man. We're trying to get this all out by Ramadan.
الدال على خير كفاعله. Meaning, if you point someone towards goodness, you will get that same reward if they practice in it. Meaning, if you have a friend who maybe is kind of like, they're trying to get more into the deen, and you feel like this is something that they would like to listen to, or they'd be more attracted to hearing, and you share it with them and they listen to it and they learn from it, anything that they benefit from it, you get the exact same reward, nothing less.
All right, without further ado, let's circumambulate this episode. And that's the first episode of the season.
Hope you enjoyed.
Yep.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.